going on, everybody? This is going to be part 2 of my video series about, my legal problems and the consequences I got from them, and in the time I spent in Ontario County Treatment Court and the New York State Department of Corrections. I am sorry about the static noise. I don't know why or why it does that. Probably because my phone's a piece of shit. But whatever. Pretty sure I left off at when treatment court started. Treatment court was one of the worst experiences of my life, hands down. They literally own you. Like, you feel like a number before you even become one. And I'll tell you this right now, I was a hell of a lot less stressed when I was incarcerated than I was when I was in the care of treatment court. They, like I said, the main judge was pissed I even got a deal, so they started fucking with me right off the bat. And so the first thing was they said I tested positive for alcohol. That test was taken on a Friday. I went to court, took a drug screen, passed it, and then my mom gave me a ride from the courthouse to the outpatient clinic, and I was going to give them a urine sample too. Well, they're saying that the urine sample that I dropped off at the outpatient tested positive for alcohol. Now, I took these two tests within a half an hour of each other. A half an hour. And my mom would have never let me freaking drink in the car or drink period while I was on, on papers. For those of you who know her. So, they fucked with me without that. I disputed it, and then they said, they gave me a break for that one. And then a few months later, they said I tested positive for blow. Now, this was, another drug test that I was not required to take. It was a Monday. I went to probation, and then I went to the outpatient clinic to give them a urine sample. Now, number one, I would never go to probation dirty. And number two, if I had the slightest suspicion that if I even had a 1% chance of testing positive for anything, I would have never willingly taken a drug test. And nobody from any treatment court program across the fucking country would do that either. They just wouldn't. So, I tried to dispute that one, but didn't get lucky. I had to do a weekend in jail for that. Then they fucked with me again. I had to do 2 weekends, and then this is 2021 I'm talking about. My birthday comes along, June 16th. The day before my birthday that year, I almost lost my father. He had to be taken to the hospital by ambulance. So it wasn't really that good of a birthday for me. So I ran errands with my mom, and went to the hospital, dropped some stuff off to my dad, and then I get a call from the treatment court coordinator. She's like, "You tested positive for alcohol again." I'm like, "That's it. I'm freaking getting my lawyer, and I am freaking getting to the bottom of this. I am fucking done playing your stupid fucking games. Done." And she's like, "Well, that's not what I wanted to hear, but okay." Well, thanks to Juneteenth, I had an extra week until I had to go to court, thankfully. It gave me time to, I had to pay my lawyer a few grand just to rehire him. And, he came over to my house, and, we figured I have diabetes, and there's been times in my life where I did not take very good care of myself with that. And that was one of those times. We printed off all my, blood work and stuff like that, and we had evidence that my diabetes was out of control, and When your diabetes is out of control, two things happen. Your body produces these things called ketones, and when you consume any carbohydrates, it turns into yeast. And everybody knows you need yeast to make alcohol. You gotta mix. Those two things mixed together are scientifically proven for false alcohol strains. So my lawyer's like, don't worry about this. We're gonna go to court tomorrow. We're gonna freaking get this taken care of. You got nothing to worry about. Well, I get to court the next day, and I was right before I went inside. Right outside the courthouse, two Ontario County jail vans were parked. I'm like, oh fuck. And one thing I forgot to mention in the first video, I am gonna be changing certain people's names, for two reasons. Number one, some people deserve, that privacy and respect, for what they did and whatnot. And then the other reason is to protect myself from repercussions. We're gonna call this judge Judge C. Rag. 2 words. Rag's the second one. The other one starts with C. Figure out the rest. I don't care. She's a witch. So before me and my lawyer went up, she went on a fucking rampage. Sent fucking like 10 people to jail that day, and she was being nasty. She must have been on the fucking rag or something, I don't know, but holy shit. But then we went up, and then she's like, Mr. Whitmer, I don't understand why you're here. And then he started talking, and then she kicked him out of the courtroom. She kicked him out. That is illegal as fuck. One of the things I shoot myself in the foot about all the time, even nowadays, is not knowing the law as well as I should have. Excuse me. This new medicine I'm on freaking dries my mouth right the fuck out. I hate it. So where was I? We went up, and she kicked him out. That's illegal as fuck. If I had the lawyer that I used for my first DWI, that would have never fucking happened. Never. So she freaking says, we know you're using, you're not admitting it, so I'm giving you one last chance, to tell me the truth. And I'm like, I'm not admitting to something I didn't do. I have morals and principles on that. I just won't do it. And so threw me in jail for a week. Get out, and then me and my lawyer, my lawyer had a copy of the contract that I signed, and I had a copy of it in my phone. We both read it together. Nowhere in that fucking contract does it say that I cannot use a personal lawyer. One thing that Judge C-Rag said that, it clearly says in the contract that you signed, it clearly says you are not allowed to use your own lawyer. You have to use the treatment court appointed one, which was this bum from the fucking public defender's office. Freaking, I don't know, that was a joke. But anyway, so I couldn't figure out what to do. I could have, taken this and throw them through the cleaners, but it would cost a lot of money, and but I realized if I did, they would start fucking with me even worse. I knew what they were doing this whole time. I'm not stupid. I pretty much knew I was being set up to fail. So I thought of something. And so when I went back to court the next time, in front of everybody in the courtroom, whatever 40-something people were in there that day, I asked Judge C-Rag for a breathalyzer box so I could, blow into it, a few times a day to make sure that I'm not drinking. And when I asked that, she paused for about a good 5-6 seconds. And then she stutteringly and hesitantly said yes. Because she couldn't have said no. You know, that would have made her look freaking terrible. You know, somebody asking for help, you know, with their addiction, and they say no. But she realized that I had lured her into a trap that she couldn't have gotten out of. That was my plan. I trapped her. And then, after that, they didn't fuck with me for about 6 months. Because that was one less thing that you could use to fuck with me. And they were pissed about that because they wanted me to freaking, you know, keep fucking up. So, anyway, 2022 rolls along. Early January. Said I tested positive for blow again. And I got 2 weeks of jail. And freaking, I'll talk more about the Ontario County Jail in part 3. But that was freaking terrible. And I truly believe, and people probably might think I'm fucking crazy for thinking this, but I truly believe that the treatment court team or something paid off the jail to deprive me of all my medications for 5 days. 5 days. The only thing I got in those days was insulin. You know, I'm prescribed buprenorphine. I'm on a very high dose of Seroquel, freaking, you know, hydroxyzine, you know, propellant. Like, I'm on fucking medications that you just cannot fucking stop taking. Oh my god, I got sick as a dog. I freaking had mini seizures. I got violent. I destroyed everything I could in my cell. I wanted to kill myself. Freaking, I told the fucking nurse to stop torturing me. And they said that the reason was they went through a mail-ordered pharmacy in Pennsylvania. Bullshit. There's like fucking 12 pharmacies in the city of Canandaigua. Use them. You're only saving a fraction of a fucking penny. Even if that's even the fucking case, which I highly doubt it is. But whatever. I'm not gonna get into it anymore. More than that. So that was a rough, you know, 5 days and then a shitty 2 weeks. And so I got out, and then on March 2nd, 2022, I was told to come in to the courthouse on a Wednesday. I knew what time it was. Freaking, and at this point, I was in terrible health. I retore my meniscus in my knee. I was on crutches. Freaking, my back is fucked. And, you know, I had a cyst on my kidney. That was painful as shit. Freaking, I was pissing blood. Freaking, having trouble urinating in general. I was a fucking mess. And I had 2 very important doctor's appointments scheduled. And she denied me. She's like, I've given you plenty of time to freaking do that, blah, 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 blah. You don't get this program. Your attitude freaking sucks. You're freaking, I've shot my mouth off on social media on somebody else's freaking post, not my page. And that was stupid of me. And whenever I had to blow into my breathalyzer, I had to pull up an app on my phone, and it would record me doing it. And one time I flipped it off. And they said, you flipped off your camera for your breathalyzer, even though that's not against the rule. it just shows you where your mindset is. So she remanded me, and that day started the beginning of basically my bid. I spent a little over 3.5 months in the jail before I went to prison. I went to jail March 2nd, and I think it was May 27th. I think it was is the day I got sentenced. And you know, I read a statement, you know, and you know, and then Judge C-Rag tells me, she's like, you know, Tony, just because you didn't complete this program does not make you a failure. And this also means that you know, your life is also not over. You know, as much as I freaking hate that woman, she was right. But I just can't believe the straight up fuckery and illegal freaking shit. And the freaking treatment team is terrible. Freaking the treatment court probation officer, fucking, let me get to name him. Parker. Yeah, his name is Parker Andrews. Yeah, Parker Andrews. Freaking one of the biggest fucking pieces of shit I ever met. Oh, and another thing, freaking, I had to take a piss test in front of him. I passed it, and he told me, he was like, "You're good." And then freaking, he said that my piss was diluted. I'm like, what the fuck? And then somebody's like, "Oh, it's gotta be at least this color." I'm like, bullshit. I give you fucking piss that looks like that all the time, and you never fucked with me about it then, so why are you gonna fuck with me about it now? Huh? You got a fucking answer for me, bitch? Sorry. Sometimes I still get riled up about this shit, I really do. But, you know, it's over now. There's nothing I can do about it. So I'm gonna say that this is about the end of part 2. Part 3 will be about I stay in the Ontario County Jail. All right. Hope you're enjoying.